Yeah, good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? Hope everybody's well. I'm doing fine. Happy Tuesday. Waiting to hear from Ford, but it could take a few weeks. My IT guy, I talked to him yesterday about Teaserking. So he's not an employee. He just helps me with a few things on Teaserking. And, he's out of work. And he's saying that, it takes a little bit of time. Says they're slow to hire because they don't know what the fuck Trump's doing. That's going to be our topic today after sports is how the USA is bankrupting the world, except for brics. And the reason is, of course, gold. Well, let's look at gold first, and then we'll get into baseball. Gold sitting there, very confused today, 33.44, the high of 33.56. The low of 33.40. So there's no range. It's just minor options going up and down. If anybody tells you this is free market, they're out of their fucking minds. This is not free market. This is bullshit options, paper. This is paper, not physical gold. That's why we don't take it too serious, and that's why we say to own the physical gold. Silver, 37.70, so that was 37.50. We've been in the 38s. They're trying to push it down because of the banks getting screwed because they shorted gold and silver when everybody's buying it like a bunch of freaking idiots. This is how stupid the bankers are. Yeah, let's keep shorting gold. Yeah, let's short silver. Everybody's buying it. Well, yeah, that's okay. So they're about to get screwed, and that will take care of the banks. So be careful of JP Morgan and Citi and Chase and Wells Fargo, whoever else is a bullion bank. There's 8 of them. There's some in HSBC. There's one in London, one in Europe. So they're all going to crap. So they keep trying, but brics just keeps buying. They go, oh, good. I can get gold at 33.43. Can't get it anywhere else. So that's where gold and silver is. We'll keep an eye on it as we go. I don't know what 10 o'clock is, if it's up or down. So we will see. China did do some buying yesterday, so just know there's huge demand, and if there's demand, price goes up. And I don't know how much longer they're going to have to start delivering. I see Trump's putting, and then the White House has all this gold stuff in the White House saying, I got gold. I don't know. I'm not in, I don't care. I got a mantle card. I don't sit there. I show you guys because you asked for it, but I don't display it like that. I display my poster of Van Gogh, but that's a poster. That's three euros. So I gladly display that, but otherwise I don't know. We could go through some college football today. We'll see. And baseball. So why don't we do baseball first? Yesterday, 3-3 day. We win Philly, Milwaukee, and Texas, and we lose the White Sox over, Colorado over, and Boston. Boston was on a streak. Colorado over. The pitching was not good. So, one day they hit 15 runs. And I know that's a bad way to bet is what they do, but let's look at it. So Philly wins 4-1, as we thought. Andrew Abbott, again, takes the loss, but he's got a low ERA. So it was 4-1, which is what I thought. I knew since he wouldn't hit, but Andrew Abbott would keep Philly in bay, which he did. So that was the theory there. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The Yankees beat Zebby Matthews and the Vikings 6-2. Milwaukee 7-1. Milwaukee wins again. That's 8 or 9 in a row. There they go again. They get on these streaks because they have decent pitching and good hitting, and they're starting to hit. But the pitching, they don't have that real weak pitcher. KC 7-4 over Washington. No bet. KC, you don't know what. Are you going to score 1 run or 7 here? Detroit 2-1. Detroit hit this to get 2 runs on this guy, and one of them came in the 9th inning. you just scratch your head. And they held the White Sox with their crappy pitching. So it was, who pitched? Peacock pitched for Detroit, and I don't know if the White Sox. They both had 4 ERAs, and they both. Then there you go with the 4 ERA. What should have been a high-scoring game? Where's the Tigers getting their 6-7 runs? And they just don't have it. They're not stealing signs anymore, and they just don't play as well on the road. If you look at their home-road split, they're much better at home for some reason. Probably where they can steal the signs. They go on the road, they probably can't steal the signs. But a 2-1 game, for that, I lose because I play over 9 thinking, well, Detroit will score there's 6 runs and Chicago will get 5 or 6, 2-1 with bad pitching. So I don't shake my head. Cardinals 3, Colorado 2. Again, I have Colorado over 8.5. High scoring team, no pitching. Cardinals only get 3. And, it's looking at the box score, they don't have many hitters. Texas comes from behind and beats Arizona 7-6 and 10. We did have Texas. Boston loses. Croquet, Garrett Croquet, 13-5 with a 2.48. Lost to Christian Javier, which I don't know if it was the starter or not. I think the starter had a 4.5 ERA. So Houston wins 7-6. Again, we lost with Croquet. We lost with Fried. It's tough. I mean, what else can you do? California beats the Dodgers 7-4. Yoshibo Yamamoto Kabuki 10-8 with a 2.84. Is a 2.84 ERA, and they were down 7-0 real quick in the game. So this is where, I don't know if it's partially the record, but partially it's something funny with his ERA when he gives up 7 runs to California. That's not good. And it shows you even like a team like the Dodgers can lose to California. Detroit lost to Detroit. Oh, we'll sweep California. Yeah. Well, they're all major leaguers, so you can't just sweep them because they're a bad team. That's what happens. San Diego 4, San Francisco 1. Darvish is getting hot. Got another win. I didn't play that game. And then Tampa 7-4 over Oakland. Ryan Peapod with his 3.86 gets the win. Jeffrey Springs 10-8 with the 4.06 gets the loss. Pete Fairbanks is Tampa's closer. He's got 20 saves now with the 2.64. See, that's what teams need. You need the closer, and most teams don't have it. Detroit, they're not smart enough to have a closer. Because Will Vest pitches in the 8th inning, sometimes in the 9th. This new guy, he's pitched like 5 times, hasn't given up a run yet. So, so of course he's going to shut everybody out the rest of the season. So again, not a good closer. So let's look at today's games. 8-12, and we start with night games. 6:35. Seattle 165-9. Now Seattle's very good team. 66-53. Baltimore 53-60. Not bad, but Seattle's like, are they really that good? George Kirby 7-5 with a 4.04. Dean Kramer 8-8 with the 4.35. I don't know what to do with this. Probably an over, but I'm sick of betting these over games like that. Just a second, I get rid of this person. I hate when people you don't know text you on either Telegram or on WhatsApp. I don't know this person. What are you bothering me for? So again, you'd think this would go over because Seattle's got a lot of hitting. Baltimore can hit, but you don't know. Like the Tiger game, 2-1. They can win 9-8 today, but 2-1 yesterday. And it wasn't a very good pitcher on either team. So, this is where you get in trouble betting baseball because it's every day. You just don't know. You don't know what the manager is going to put in the lineup. You don't know if the guys are on a streak, good or bad, in a slump, and the bullpen guys, how tired they are. So you don't even know who you're getting. So you're basically betting on preseason football with this, because preseason football, you're betting on third and fourth stringers, and that's it. But still, these inter-squad practices, Detroit against Chicago or whoever, I mean, you can't use them as an exhibition game. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Philly, Cincinnati. We're going to go with Philly. We've got the Ranger Suarez, 8-5 with a 2.94 against Brady Singer, 9-9 with a 4.35. So we're going Philly. We're going to go 3 units with the Ranger. Don't like Cincy's pitcher, and love the Ranger for Philly, and they're playing well. Miami and Cleveland. Cleveland 130-9. Jason Junk 6-2, 3.97. Logan Allen 7-9, 3.96. Miami's been playing well. So has Cleveland. This Jason Junk's okay. He's 6-2, 3.9. He's not bad, even though he's got a strange name. Logan Allen 7-9, 3.96. Not sure what to do with that. So I'm going to leave the game alone. I don't know. Wouldn't surprise me who won. Cleveland's a small favorite, and I don't know why. Minnesota and the Yankees. Yankees 220-9, but I don't have pitchers. I'm sure it's not Max Fried, but it's a big number, 220. Minnesota, they're not that bad. They took 2 out of 3 from the Tigers, so I'm not touching this without knowing the pitchers. The Cubs in Toronto 125-9. Ben Brown 5-7 with a 6.04. Jose Berrios 8-4 with a 3.89. Again, it's a good game. The Cubs 67-59. Toronto 69-50. Either team can win. I guess the Cubs were in a bit of a slump. But when I was watching the St. Louis game Saturday against the Cubs, they hit the ball all over the place. So I don't know what's to do there. Ben Brown, 5-7 with a 6.04, kind of leads me to either taking Toronto or the over, but I'm going to pass again on this one. Atlanta and the Jets, Jets. The Mets 140-8. Spencer Strider 5-9, 4.04. Clay Holmes 9-6 with the 3.46. The Mets 63-55 are dying. Atlanta 51-67 have already died. Basically, I don't know what to do. I'll have to look for streaks here. The Mets might be on a losing streak, as we talked yesterday. Pittsburgh at Milwaukee on the 8 game. Oh, trouble here. Paul Scanes 7-8, 1.94. Freddie Peralta 13-5, 3.03. I am not taking Milwaukee against Paul Scanes. You do not bet against Alabama. You do not bet against Mahomes, and you do not bet against Paul Scanes. But I can go under. So we're going to go Milwaukee under 7. And we'll go 3 units. Scanes will probably limit them to a run or 2. Milwaukee can still win when they pull Scanes, but it's not going to be it shouldn't be a high-scoring game. Freddie Peralta is 13-5 with a 3.03. I don't see where you're going to get runs from, so this should be very low scoring. But Milwaukee is still on this huge win streak again. Washington, KC 185-9. Michael Parker 7-12 with a 5.43. Michael Wakaka 6-9 with a 3.36. I have no idea. Kansas City 59-60. They're an average team. Washington 47-71. It really means nothing. It's how the matchup here, and I am letting this go. Detroit at Chicago, the White Sox. I have no pitchers. Detroit 185, 8.5. I would assume it's not Skubal, or it would be much higher, and I don't know. With Detroit here, winning 2-1 with the home run in the 9th. makes it really difficult to. They're not hitting the White Sox. Without pitching, you just don't know what to do in this game. Colorado, St. Louis. St. Louis, 198.5. Kyle Freeland, 2-12 with a 5.53. Matthew Liberatore, 6-9 with a 3.88. I don't know. They apparently don't hit. St. Louis doesn't hit. Liberatore. I think I watched him. He's terrible. Kyle Freeland. This should be an over, but I'm not going to play this one. I don't like it. Arizona, Texas. Texas, 145, 8.5. Andrew DeScalifani, 1-2 with the 4.20. Jack Leiter, 7-6 with the 4.05. I did have Texas yesterday with their ace on the mound, and it was like an 8-7 game. So I don't know. This should be high scoring also, but we're going to leave it alone. Boston, Houston. Boston, 105, 8.5. Dustin May, 6-8 with the 4.93. Spencer Spaghetti, 1-2 with the 7.43. He's got a 7 ERA. Boston, it was an 8-7 game yesterday. I'm going to go over with this one. Let's go Houston over 8.5. And we'll go 2 units. Yeah, I just find the pitching bad. They both can hit. It's in Houston, which they score a lot of runs. Houston 67-52, Boston 65-55. So it should be a good game. The Dodgers in California. California wins 7-4 yesterday. The Dodgers are 185-10, way overvalued. Emmett Smith, 3-2 with the 3.0. Victor Maderos, 0-0 with the 4.50. Never heard of these pitchers. Over under at 10. I think they go over. The Dodgers can hit. California's apparently hitting. Emmett Sheehan doesn't impress me. 3-2 with a 3. I never heard of him. Victor Maderos, never heard of. He's got a 4.5. So I'm not. The pitchers are too new. We don't really have the data on them. San Diego goes to the 49ers. 49ers 127.5. Nestor Cortez 1-1 with the 7.11. Robbie Ray 9-5 with the 2.85. You would think the Niners with the 2.85 should be good here, but they don't hit San Diego. Again, I don't trust Robbie Ray to win the game, maybe to keep the runs down, but 7.5, and they don't hit enough. So it's a bad situation there. And Tampa Bay, Oakland, Tampa 105-10. Shane Baz, 8-8 with the 4.92 against Jacob Lopez, 5-6 with the 3.59. That's it. I don't feel it. I got Philadelphia 3 units, Milwaukee, who I would bet, but I'm going under because it's Paul Scanes, under 7 with the 3 units, and Houston over 8.5 with 3 units. Let's check the streaks. I think there was 1 or 2. Let's look at it. Nobody in the American League East, nobody in the American League Central. Seattle has got a 7-game winning streak, so we're going to go with Seattle, although I didn't see them or I didn't pay much attention to them. The National League, Philly on a 4-game win streak. We got them. The Jets, Jets. So NYM 7 losing streak. So we'll see who's playing the Mets. Miami and Atlanta on 3-game streaks. We're going to low Milwaukee on a 10, but we can't play them with Scanes. And Colorado is on an 8-game losing streak. So let's go see who Seattle, the Mets, and Colorado are playing. Seattle's got the first game against Baltimore, so we are going to take Seattle for 2 units against Baltimore. Who the Mets are playing. They're playing Atlanta, so we're going to go with Atlanta. Spencer Strider, 5-9 with a 4.04. Clay Holmes. It's funny how the Mets are favored, even though they're on a 7-game losing streak. And then Colorado I was playing St. Louis, so we're going to go with St. Louis for 2 units. Matthew Liberatore, 6-9 with a 3.8. I watched him play Saturday. He stinks. Kyle Freeland, 2-12. The 5.53 isn't much better, so we'll go St. Louis. So now we got Philly 3. They're on a 4-game win streak. Milwaukee under 7. We can't play them on a 10-game win streak because of Scanes. If they beat Scanes, we're going to bet big on them tomorrow. Houston over 8.5, 2 units. Seattle now, because they're on a win streak, we'll play for 2 units. We're betting against the Mets on a 7-game losing streak with Atlanta. And we're betting on St. Louis because Colorado's on an 8-game losing streak. So the bottom 3 are based on streaks. The top 3 are based on pitchers. And then we got Philly with the pitcher, but they're also on a streak, as is Milwaukee. But there's just certain things you just can't bet against, like a Scanes or a Montana or Brady. You just can't bet against those guys. Alabama, Georgia, you don't make your living betting against the best players. We want to bet on them. We want to bet against weakness, the art of war. We bet strength. We bet against weakness. That's the way it works. So that's what we're trying to do. And so when you come up against Gaines, you're betting against strength. Well, that's not what we want. We want to bet against weakness. We want to bet against Jacksonville and Tennessee and Indiana and the Bears and certain teams. Or that's why we try to find the Z teams in the conferences, because that's what we want to bet. So you got Marshall this year will be a Z team. So we want to bet against Marshall. That's the point, right? That's what we're looking at. Bet against Marshall. They're the Z team. Not bet against Alabama, Georgia, the bigger, stronger teams. So that's today. We got 6 games. We'll see what happens. Let's go to preseason. And we'll go to week number 2. Keeps going to week 1 for some reason. Okay. Now, I heavily advise being careful with preseason football because you're betting on week. As I just said, you want to bet on Scanes. You want to bet Milwaukee, Philly. But you want to bet against the weak teams, right? We're betting against Colorado and the Mets and teams that are struggling, that aren't good. But when it comes to preseason, what do you have? You have the weak teams. So every team's weak because they're playing their 3rd and 4th starters. Oh, Burrow might get out there for a little bit and Mahomes for a little bit. But that's about it. You don't really have the teams out there that are – you're not betting on Mahomes the whole game or Joe Burrow or Josh Allen. Right, you're not betting on Bo Nix. Did Bo Nix get hurt yesterday? I gotta see. I heard something Bo Nix, but I don't know. No, I guess not. No, I don't see it. Maybe he didn't. Okay. So let's keep in mind, but now we have the quarterbacks. So when we look at it, now here we can get some steals betting on strong betting against weak quarterbacks. I see somebody let Tim Boyle go. This blows my mind. He's terrible. He keeps going into preseason. He keeps being cut because he's terrible. And teams still continue to bring him in. Tennessee. Okay, so they cut Tim Boyle. Why he was there, I have no idea. Well, let's give him a try. Joshua Dobbs, let's give him a try. Adrian Martinez, he sucked in college. Let's give him a try on the Jets. So I don't know what the Jets are doing. They scored 30, but I don't know how much was turnovers and kick returns and all that shit. So let's go through the games and we'll go through the quarterbacks. Tennessee, Atlanta. Tennessee 5.5, 38.5. I don't know why they're favored. I don't know why Tennessee would be favored over anybody. They couldn't beat UCLA. I mean, they're terrible. Cam Ward, it's funny how people make believe he's better than he is. Okay, he sucked at Washington State for 2 years, goes to Miami, ran around, whatever they were doing, a different offense. Is Tennessee going to run the Miami of Florida offense, the Washington State offense, or the Tennessee offense? And the college offenses don't work in the pros. That's the problem. So why are they favored here? So I automatically want to go to Atlanta. I'm going to take Atlanta as a home dog. Wow, I'm getting 5.5. So I got Atlanta plus 11.5. That'll be my first teaser. We'll see who we play with. So let's look at Atlanta. Penix, Stick, and Jones. I don't know who Jones is. Not very good. Stick, not very good. Penix is very good. I don't know where Kirk Cousins is at. Tennessee, you've got Ward, who, how much is he going to play? Ballou or Bellin, and now you get rid of Boyle. So there's really no quarterback at all, even if you include Ward. So Atlanta, how good is Stick? And then Jones, they were pretty lackluster against the Lions, but I think they're going to play a little better this week. Tennessee, I don't get this. So Atlanta plus 11.5. I like the dogs in the preseason, as we saw last week. The Rams, Tampa, San Diego, Kansas City, the Green Bay and Detroit overs. Oakland was a live dog. Cleveland was a live dog. The only game we lost, we took the favorite, Cincinnati, because Joe Burrow was playing, and Philadelphia beat him with Tanner McKee, who stinks. All right. KC goes to Seattle. KC minus 2.5. So we are going to get Mahomes. We know that. Now, he threw one pass last week. Is he going to throw more? Do we get him for the first quarter? Maybe. Seattle, very weak team this year. Total of 42.5. They had very low totals last week. So KC, they've got Mahomes, they got Zappi and Minshew. They got excellent quarterbacks. Seattle, Darnell, Locke, and Milrose. Well, Milrose sucks, right? He can't throw the ball. Milrose is like Richardson. They're good running. Put him wide receiver guys. That's the difference. Before you had the running, the athlete quarterback would be the receiver, Hines Ward, Randall Antoine-L. You had a few others. Those would be your receivers. Tony Dungy was a option quarterback at Minnesota and played for the Steelers. Didn't play much, didn't get in there much, but he played safety. You didn't put him at quarterback and say, go run the wishbone or the option. They're good athletes. Nobody's saying they're bad athletes. I don't say Lamar's a bad athlete. He's a bad quarterback. Richardson's a terrible quarterback. And now you have Milrose, who has no business being in quarterback. So when we look at Seattle, Drew Lock was pretty good at Missouri. I didn't mind him. And Darnold, for some reason, isn't playing, even though he doesn't know any of his teammates, and he's a career backup. So why is it Darnold out there? This is confusing to me. You can't get your timing with your receivers and your offensive line and your running backs. You want to have a lot of turnovers your first 3 weeks? Be my guest. They're probably not going to get hurt, the starters, just handing the ball off, making some safe passes, just to get the timing and rhythm with the offensive line and their receivers. You're not going to, I don't think they're going to blitz you in the first quarter, and that's a fourth quarter thing. But I don't know. Based on the quarterbacks, I like Kansas City here. 42.5. I don't know. 42.5. Milrose, Locke, Darnold. We will see. But, I think KC will win the game, getting 3.5. I think let's go there. KC plus 3.5. It's a good number. And KC will play their starters the first quarter. Carolina at Houston. Houston 38.5. Carolina, they've got Andy Dalton, Plummer from Louisville, Jack Plummer, and Steve Young. And Dalton's the best one, so he will see a lot of action. Houston, they have big problems. Stroud didn't play. Slovis was at USC, got beaten out when Lincoln Riley came. Went to BYU. He was decent. Mills is terrible from Stanford, and Mertz is terrible at Wisconsin. Went to Florida. So I don't know why Mertz and Mills are on the team. Mills is a bad quarterback. He does have experience, but he's bad. And Slovis. So I don't know. Houston, I don't know how much their defense is going to play. Carolina, though, it's really Andy Dalton. I'm going to leave this alone. I don't really want to bet on Carolina, but I can't bet on Houston. They're just too bad. Cleveland, Philly 39.5. I get a feeling Philly's going to welcome Prime Jr. to the league. Okay, let's get all excited. He put up a couple touchdowns against Carolina. So I know, yeah, he's the greatest quarterback. We should have all drafted him in the number 1 pick ahead of Cam Ward. Bullshit. Now they go against Philly, and Philly will play them, and Philly will pressure them. And believe me, nobody likes like the new kid, right? Look for Philly to come on and if they blew away Cincinnati with Joe Burrow, well, they beat them by 7. I have a feeling I like Philly -3. I don't love the number +3. Or do we go over? I think this is going to be an over. Cleveland's got no defense. Philly over 33. So if we look at Philly, Hurts, Thompson, Robinson, and McCord. Thompson, Robinson look good. McCord, I don't know who he is. Hurts didn't play. Barkley's not playing, but they put up a lot on Cincinnati. Cleveland put up a lot. Prime Jr. will play. Huntley is good. Flacco won't play. Gabriel and Pickens have pulled hamstrings. So I found out why Gabriel was 4 of 18 if he pulled his hamstring. So he couldn't throw. He's much better than 4 of 18. Hey, Real D, how are you today? Welcome. I'm coming on a little earlier because it's screwing up my eating. I know how I ate at 11, and but then when I was done, I'd eat at like 2. No, not that I was eating a lot, but so I'm on at 10, figuring 10 to 12, and then it'll be lunchtime, and then I can eat my lunch and then go swim and go walk and all my other stuff that I'm trying to do. I look much thinner. I'm not eating a whole lot, which is fine. I don't want to. There's a time you eat your ice creams and your cookies, and there's a time you say, I'm not eating them till Thanksgiving. This is that time. So that's what I'm looking at. And anyway, so doing that. So I'll be on at 10 o'clock. Real D, did you get the baseball games? So baseball today, Philly, Milwaukee under 7, Houston over 8, Seattle, and then Atlanta and St. Louis. We're betting against the Mets, who are on a 7-game losing streak, and we're betting against Colorado on an 8-game losing streak with St. Louis. But that's the baseball picks today. And then we're looking now. We have the quarterbacks. This is my point. We now have the quarterbacks who are playing, and now we can see when we go through preseason here. So again, Philly, Thompson, Robinson look good. McCord, I don't know. The defense will be solid. Cleveland, Prime Jr. and Huntley are good. I don't know how much they'll score on Philly, but we'll see. We'll get a tour test. Now, if this was a real season, then we would see Prime Jr. throw 4 interceptions. But everybody's getting excited. He beat Carolina, who's a high school team, right? Carolina wouldn't win a game in the Big Ten. Are you kidding me? Or the SEC. Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State would kill them. So anyway, so I'm going to go over. I think it's Cleveland has no defense. Philly should rack them, and then Cleveland might get a little bit. I'll be shocked if Prime Jr. throws one touchdown, but we'll see when he comes in the game, probably in the fourth quarter when Philly's got their fifth stringers in there. New England at Mini. New England 2.5, 39.5. I'm going to go with Mini as a home dog here. Mini plus 8.5. Why is New England favored? Drake May didn't do shit. They scored a lot, but it was mysterious. Probably a lot of turnovers. I don't think they went up and down the field last week. Let's see. New England. Drake May, Woldridge, and Joshua Dobbs. Joshua Dobbs, we know, stinks. Woldridge, I don't know. I don't recall him. And Drake May's terrible. Minnesota. McCarthy, who did play. Thurston Howell III for North Carolina, who's Brad Rippon, who stinks. And Brosmer from Minnesota, who's terrible. So, how long are you going to play McCarthy, and then how long are you going to play Thurston Howell? Rippon's okay. He'll in preseason. And Brosmer, what the fuck are you doing with this guy? He sucked at college, so you're going to put him in the NFL, and he's going to get better? Sort of like Davis Mills, who sucked at Stanford. I love these quarterbacks who suck, but they might have a good arm, or they're an athlete like Richardson, but they're not good. I mean, the bottom line is they're not good quarterbacks. Okay, so we have that mess. I like Minnesota there because McCarthy will play, and I'm not worried about Drake May and who the hell's Woldridge and Joshua Dobbs. Jesus. Green Bay at Indy. Indy -6. How can Indy be favored over anybody? Let's see. So Green Bay, Love played Willis and Clifford. I like those quarterbacks with the coach, so they will score. Indy, I'm struggling with. Richardson's terrible. Riley Leonard is probably their best, and Daniel Jones, who's terrible. So we're going to go with Green Bay plus 12, or should we go over? They played a 40-point game last week. Green Bay will score a lot in this game. I'm going to take Green Bay in 12. Although I do like the over, too. So, again, why is Indy 6-point favorites? They're not a good team. They'll be lucky to win the game. They're going to win by 12. I mean, even if Green Bay, they're going to play Love, but they go to Willis and they go to Clifford, Sean Clifford from Penn State. They're fine. And it's the coach. He's going to make the calls. Miami and Detroit. Miami 4 over Detroit, 37.5. Confusion. Miami, they have Tagovailoa, who stinks, Zach Wilson, and Quentin Ewers, who stinks, from Texas. So Ewers wasn't much at Texas. Zach Wilson was pretty good, and then he went to the Jets, where they're going to kill him with that offense. And Tagovailoa, who probably won't play because he'll get a concussion. Going against Detroit, Golf, who won't play, Allen and Hooker. Allen played okay. Hooker's getting really screwed because the Tennessee offense and the Detroit offense are apples and oranges. So the question is, why would you draft Hooker, who ran a offense at Tennessee that was basically if the man's open, throw it to him. That's what Alabama runs, and Ohio State. That's why their quarterbacks always suck. Not that Hooker sucks. He's a good quarterback, but not in this system. So he looks out of sort. Now you got a new offensive coordinator for him. So he went from Ben Johnson last year, and now he's with Joe Blow, who we're yet to see what they have. Are Detroit going to play the whole game, or are they going to cry? If somebody gets injured, they're going to have tears and hold hands and end the game in the second quarter, and we'll watch the clock run out. I mean, I'm very pissed at Detroit for not being professional. People are paying to watch the game. You can't sit there and the guy gets his head hurt or his neck hurt. He was fine. I mean, it was a little dramatic, over dramatic, but he was fine. He's fine now. I don't know if he's playing, but who cares? People get hurt. It's football. Move on. You don't stop the game and watch the game clock run. What the fuck was that? But they only let it run until 6 minutes, and then it was suspended. So Vegas didn't have to pay anybody. So here, I don't get Miami. Zach Wilson, Urs. Yeah, I think Detroit plus 10. He's not going to want to lose at home. So I like Detroit just because they're a home dog to Miami, who, again, using my theory, is they shouldn't be the favorite in this game. Detroit should be a 4-point favorite. Why is Miami favored? They don't have anything. So even without golf, you're gonna go with Allen, and even Hooker. Hooker's not that bad. He's better than what Miami's got. He's better than Zach Wilson. He's better than Urs, and he's better than Tagliabue, basically. All right. The 49ers against Oakland. Oakland's a 5.5-point favorite, 4.5. Oakland has, where are you? Geno Smith, we know. O'Connell's terrible, and I don't know who this Miller is. Reggie Miller, maybe. And Geno Smith's not playing. So if you're going with O'Connell and Miller and you're favored, and let's see what the Niners are doing. Purdy, I don't think he's playing. Jones and Mordecai. Now, Mordecai's been cut. So we'll have to see who the other one is. So I don't know what Jones this is. But if you're not playing Purdy, who's your other quarterback besides Jones? I don't know. This is a tough game. Neither team's got a quarterback. This is probably an under, but I'm going to leave this alone. But yeah, Purdy's playing. McCaffrey, it's an easy dog, right? But they're not. That's preseason for you. Tampa Bay goes to Pittsburgh. Tampa's a 2.5-point favorite, 40.5. Tampa is going with the Baker, Kyle Trask, and Basilic. I think he was at Missouri, Basilic, or somewhere like that. Trask, excellent. Should be the starter. Very good talent. Had a very good game last week against Pitt. Aaron Rodgers won't play. Skylar Thompson's terrible, and Rudolph is okay. The game being in Pitt, they're probably a good home dog, but I'm afraid of Trask, and I don't like Skylar Thompson. Rudolph's decent, nothing great. So I'm going to let this game go. In the real season, I'd be all over Pitt with Aaron Rodgers, but we don't have him. The Battle of New York, the JETSs go against the G-Men. The G-Men are 339.5. The G-Men, Dart, Danny DeVito, Winston, and Russell Wilson, and all four played last week, as they should. Not bad. They're not a bad group. Russell Wilson's the best. Dart, we don't know. Wasn't much at Mississippi. He ran a lot. He's a good runner, again, not a good thrower. DeVito's okay. Winston, too many turnovers. Goes against the JETSs. Fields, Cook, and Adrian Martinez. I would have liked the Giants as the dog here. You've got to be kidding me. I mean, the Jets, I don't know how they scored so much, but Martinez is just an option running. He's not a quarterback. So he'll probably run around. So I can't make a play here. Maybe under, but I'm not going to do it. And then we got San Diego playing the Rams. San Diego, 4.5-point favorite, 37.5. We've got for the Rams, Stafford, who won't play, Stenson Benson, who looked great, San Diego, Herbert, who won't play, Trey Lance, and Heineken. Heineken didn't look good. Lance looked terrible. He was like 10 of 20, for 50 yards. More of the Trey Lance we're used to, but he ran a little bit. I don't know. Harbaugh's hung up on this Trey Lance for some reason. Herbert's not playing, and Heineken's good, but he's rusty, I guess. So it's Stenson Benson against that. I like the Stensoner. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Rams plus 10.5 here with Stenson. Oh, no, it's LA. Benson's very good. 2 national titles at Georgia, clutch player. I've seen him win a few games here in the NFL in the preseason, like the last play of the game. He's clutch. He's a winner. Trey Lance, I don't know. It's a neutral game because they're both in LA, but I don't buy San Diego being a road favorite with Trey Lance. He's still Trey Lance. Come on, guys. But he looked good against the Lions. Yeah, so what? What else is new? Baltimore and Dallas. Baltimore minus 1.5, 37.5. Baltimore likes to win preseason games. Baltimore, Lamar, who won't play, Leary, who sucks, Cooper Rush, who's very good, and they got Ali, the running back, who's very good. Going against Dallas, Prescott sucks, Will Grier, excellent, and Milton is terrible. Michigan, he was terrible. Tennessee, he was terrible. What is he doing on a team? I mean, there's certain guys that you don't. If he's starting, you're not going to win. I do like Will Grier, great from Florida, excellent quarterback. But how long are we going to get him and to have Milton in there? So I like Baltimore here. Cooper Rush, Leary. Let's go Baltimore. They just like to win preseason games. Baltimore plus 4.5 here. Who says it's hard to find games to bet on? Arizona and Denver. Denver 740.5. Denver, Bo Nix, Ellington, and Stidham. Love their quarterbacks, all three of them. So some teams have and some teams cannot figure that out. Arizona with Murray, Bissett, and Toon. I like Bissett, don't like Toon. So it's Bissett going against Ellinger and Stidham. So I like Denver there, but Denver's laying 7. I'm not going to go with the favorite, 40.5. Probably an over, but I'm going to stay away. I don't like this matchup. Jacksonville, New Orleans. New Orleans, probably the second worst team besides Jacksonville, Carolina, and the JETSs. Jacksonville, 1.5, 40.5. Trevor Lawrence, terrible. Mullins, decent. Hennigan, and Wolford. You don't have much there. Mullins probably your best. Goes against New Orleans. Rattler's terrible. Hayner is very good, and Tyler Shaw don't like. So I don't know what to say here. I mean, New Orleans. Now their coach is now Kellen Moore from Boise, the quarterback, who didn't play for the Lions and then went to Dallas and became an offensive coordinator. Now he's finally the head coach, and he went to another place. I think he went to Philly or somewhere. Good offensive mind. So he should be able to figure out which quarterback, although I can't imagine if it's Rattler, then I'll question everything he does. So Jacksonville is terrible. What's the line? Jacksonville's favored in New Orleans. How the fuck are they going to win? Mullins, Hennigan. I can't bet New Orleans. So then it leaves it, do I bet it under? Because you have no quarterback play. So we'll leave it alone. I don't really like the under in the game because New Orleans has Rattler, Hayner, and Shaw, who aren't bad, but they're not good. And Mullins, Hennigan, and Wolford for Jack. So you got a bunch of crap on this team. Again, Jacksonville's going with a new head coach who's an offensive guy. You had whatchamacallit from Ohio State. You had the guy from Philadelphia who were offensive guys. And if Urban Meyer can't turn you around, the guy's just a winner, right? If he can't make you a winner, so he didn't like Trevor Lawrence, and I don't blame him. I didn't like him either. But let's leave it alone. All right. Buffalo at the Bears. The Bears, 239.5. The Bears. We've got Caleb, terrible. Baggett, very good. Case Keenum, very good. And I don't know who Reed is. But Bagnett and Keenum are very good. I can see why they're favored. Buffalo, Allen, but then Trubisky, Mike White, and Shane Buechele. Well, I like White and Buechele much better than Trubisky. I just wrote it down in order. Josh Allen won't see the field. So I think Buffalo can score a lot with White and Bouchel. I think the Bears with Badgett could score a lot more than they're going to get with Caleb. And this is the problem with teams. They first pick Caleb, so we're going to go with him, even though he's not the best quarterback. Badgett's better, Keenum's better, but we'll go with Caleb because we're paying him. We'll lose, but we're paying him, which is ludicrous. So don't understand it. So in this situation here, I think it's actually an over. Let's go over. Buffalo over. I mean, they're always going to score a lot, even without Josh Allen. Over 33.5. Let's see how that feels. Right now, I'm trying to get a feel who I should play. And Monday night, God, why is there a Monday night game? Cincinnati, Washington. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow did play. The Riddler and Browning. Browning stinks at Washington. Riddler at Cincinnati was average, but didn't do anything on Atlanta. But he has started a lot. And Joe Burrow, we know he's the best. Washington, we're not going to see Daniels. There's Josh Johnson, who's terrible, and Hartman, who we love. So Washington didn't really play last week. Are they going to try this week? See, when a team, I know they don't try, it's preseason, but at the end of the day, you play to win. That's what Baltimore does in preseason. They still play the game to win. They don't want to lose. And that's why they're a good team. They put Lamar at slot receiver and had Cooper Rush, they'd be a Super Bowl team. But they don't want to win the Super Bowl, obviously. And so that's the difference. But teams like Baltimore and Kansas, they want to win every game. That's why they go to the Super Bowl. They start Mahomes. They start Kelsey. It's preseason. They don't care. They need the work. They need the timing. Let's play in a real game. I mean, it's like, I played baseball. I played softball. Even golf. When you play, even if it's a practice, you play hard. When I practiced baseball or softball, it was a game to me. I was trying to hit the shit out of the ball. I would make running catch. I didn't just stand there going, well, it's a practice. I would hit the shit out of the ball. I mean, I still played as if I just enjoyed playing. And I think that's what you're taking out of these games. These guys make so much money that, it's hard to work hard when you're getting all this money. When you're getting $20-30 million to play, it's extremely difficult to play hard because you're like, oh, I got the money. I don't want to get injured because I've already got the money. And that's the problem in sports now. They pay the guys way too much. Look at basketball. Well, he's taking a day off. What the fuck is that? We got a game today. Nah, I'm taking the day off. I'm tired. Richardson taps out at Indy. What is that? You play once a week. You're getting paid this money. You don't tap out. So I think you have a lot of that problem as you make more money. So Cincinnati should win this game. They're 4.5-point favorites, 42.5. I'm not going to touch it. Although Washington, Josh Johnson's terrible, but Hartman's good. So I'm curious to see him. We didn't see him last year. He should get in the game if they're up 20, 30 points. He should still get in the game and do something. And then, Cincinnati with Burrow, but then Riddler and Browning aren't very good. So, so we'll leave that. So we've covered who played last week. So the best backup quarterbacks are probably Denver, Kansas City, right? They got the best backups. So let's look at it. We got Atlanta plus 11.5 against Tennessee. I like that one. KC gets 3.5 against Seattle. I like that. So that's going to be my first teaser. I'm actually going to play them in a teaser, very small. Houston, Carolina, we decided not to play because we can't trust either one. Cleveland, Philly, they both scored a lot, so we're going to go over on that one. I do like that. And, I'm going to Let's play it with Green Bay plus 12. Now, this is the process where I feel the picks. So I like the picks, then I feel it, and then I feel the teaser. And I looked at Philly, Minnesota, and I go, well, I like Minnesota, but I like Green Bay and 12 against Indy much better. So then it becomes Philly over with Green Bay plus 12. That's kind of, it's a feel thing. Then I can play, well, Minnie's playing who? New England. So I might not play that. I'll take Detroit. I'll take Detroit. I'll play Baltimore, Buffalo. Baltimore plus 4.5, Buffalo. And then I guess I'll take Detroit with LA. And I'll leave Minnesota alone. I won't play them. So the teasers, Atlanta plus 11.5, KC plus 3.5. Very important we get it over 3. These games will end in a tie, so we don't have to worry about overtime. Philly over 33. They scored a lot. Cleveland scored a lot. We'll see. Green Bay plus 12. Again, it's preseason, so we're not getting the vaunted Philly defense that we're going to get in the regular season. Green Bay plus 12. I just think the coach, they have enough quarterbacks, and, he wants to score. Detroit plus 10. They're just a home dog, and LA plus 10.5. Stenson Benson, I like. So I don't mind that. And then Baltimore plus 4.5, Buffalo over 33 against the Bears, which is normally in the regular season, we lock Buffalo. Baltimore's playing Dallas, they'll win easy. Buffalo and the Bears, this would be an easy. The Bears are 2-point favorites, but it would be Buffalo minus 7 in the regular season. So here at 33.5, the Bears are trying to score. Ben Johnson, offensive coach, Buffalo. Who's their quarterback? White's good and Bichelle's good. Hopefully we don't see too much of Trubisky. Are you really seriously going to play Trubisky? Is he really going to look good in the preseason? And you're going to say, wow, that's my guy. I'm going to have him back up Josh Allen. Right now, I would say it's about salary. So who's the cheapest between White, Bouchel, and Trubisky? It's probably Bouchel because he's a rookie, and maybe White. Trubisky's got drafted. He probably makes decent money. So why would you want him? I think you're fine with White or Bouchel as your backup because if you lose Josh Allen, it really won't matter. Those are the 4 teasers. Atlanta plus 11.5, KC plus 3.5. Philly over 33, Green Bay plus 12, Detroit plus 10, the Rams plus 10.5, Baltimore plus 4.5, Buffalo over 33. And Cincinnati, even though Joe Burrow is playing and they'll probably score, maybe it's an over. Cincinnati's defense looks so bad, but Washington's not playing Penix or Daniels. They got Josh Johnson and Hartman. They're just terrible. What are you doing with Josh Johnson? I'm sorry, are we missing something there? So those are your football teasers for week 2. We'll keep an eye on who's starting. We'll keep an eye on that. Again, preseason, these are very tiny bets, if at all, if you want to bet, because it's preseason. You don't have Mahomes and Burrow the whole game. That's what you're betting on, Mahomes, the whole game, Burrow. Not like baseball where they take the ace out after 5 innings. Oh, he pitched 90 pitches. I really don't know where they got 100 pitches as the bullseye. As I said, and the analytics is really screwed up. It's really not good. It's not accurate. It's stupid. Why people would listen to it. So they're trying to say, well, analytically, if teams go for 4th down, they make so much. But if you open it up a little bit, you see, it's 90% Philadelphia on the push tush, and the other percent, 50, 60 more percent is Buffalo with Josh Allen running around that they can't stop. So the rest of the teams are probably 20%, right? Because that's why is so. Going for 4th down in the league, and no, it's you got to take Philly and Buffalo out of it. Now let's see about going for fourth down. And the Lions would never have went for fourth down in those championship games. Because if they would have analyzed it like that, they would have said, yeah, that's probably a 40% thing. And geez, we need a field goal to tie the game. Let's not do that. That's the problem you have. And then in baseball, how they're getting 100 pitches, they're just pulling a number out of the air. I don't know. It makes no sense, especially for the better pitchers. You got Fried, you got Skubal, you got Scanes tonight, Ric Flair. You got some of these pitchers. They got to go 8 innings. I'm sorry. You don't have the bullpen to – you've got the best player on your team. You've got the Mahomes, and you're pulling Mahomes out for the backup is what you're doing. And, well, he's a good reliever. You're pulling Mahomes out. You can't pull Mahomes out of the game. You can't pull Joe Burrow out of the game or Josh Allen. You can't pull him out of the game for a lesser player if you're serious about winning. He plays. There's no pitch count. There's no, oh, you threw 40 passes. You got to come out, Mahomes. Good luck getting that guy out, right? And that's the difference. Somehow there's this magic number of 100, which makes no sense. And they still don't even go at, well, yeah, you pitched 6 innings and you're at 92. We're going to take you out now. What are you, nuts? Just keep it going. Now, I don't like this rule where if you bring in a reliever, he's got to pitch the 3 batters. That's the stupidest rule. Well, we're trying to speed the game up. Why are we trying to speed the game up? Is the game that bad? If the game's that bad, maybe we shouldn't have baseball if nobody wants to watch it. But the problem is with these iPhones, I bet if you go to a baseball game, everybody's on their phone looking at this, that, and the other. They're not even watching the game. That's the problem with the games on TV now. They're just too many commercials. So, okay, they just scored. Okay, well, 5 minutes. I got 5 minutes to watch YouTube. Or to look at Twitter or whatever people do. And that's the problem. So you have a serious problem with it. You're going to too many. The guy's injured. Lions game, the guy got injured. They were gone for 10 minutes. They went 5 minutes. He's still laying on the field. They went out 5 more minutes. And then you just watch the clock go down. What the hell? I've never seen that. I watched football since I was 5 years old. I've never seen that. I don't understand the purpose of it. Just play. So are the Lions playing this week because the guy got injured? Maybe they won't play the whole season. Maybe they'll just sit it out because, gosh darn it, the guy got hurt. And nobody else is going to get hurt. Yet when their Hutchinson got hurt and broke his leg in 2 places, did they stop the game or they kept playing it? I bet they kept playing it. Well, it's a preseason game, so it doesn't mean anything. Bullshit, it doesn't mean anything. Vegas saved their ass because Detroit was probably bet big, and they would have had to pay out, but it's a suspended game. Oh, we don't pay on a suspended game. Yeah, it's about the injury. Bullshit. So that's what we have. A lot of bad coaches, just like a lot of bad managers in baseball. Oh, it's a lefty. I got a lefty. I'm going to bring the lefty out to face the lefty. Oh, isn't that what I'm supposed to do? Fucking idiots. If it's a good lefty, he can hit lefties, you idiot. Anyway, so we have that. So that's preseason. We'll keep our eye on it, but that's where the analytics. I don't get the 100 pitches in a baseball game. I guess somebody had a no-hitter last week and pitched 125 pitches. My friend noted that because we always laugh about this stuff. Well, he can't go through the lineup the 3rd time. He can't go 100 pitches. It's all such bullshit. And that's the problem. I mean, what are you going to do when Hulk Hogan runs wild on you? I mean, this is the problem. You're coming up with misleading stats that are not accurate, that people don't question, but they use the stats as the guidelines. Oh, well, no, it's 95 pitches. We got to get them out. It's the 7th inning. We got to pull them out. What what is it? A bunch of idiots. If I was managing my guy, if I had Fried or Skubal or like Skeens tonight, Skeens would go 9 innings if he's pitching well. I mean, last time he had I think he went 5 innings and gave up 4 runs, so it was unusual. But if he's dialed in and this is a shutout, he's going all 9 innings. There is no, oh, I'm going to bring in my relievers to fuck the game up for us. Because I don't care about the statistics are bullshit. You can make them look, like I said, like I always say with gold, you cannot do a trend analysis on gold because the variables have changed, and the variables change in baseball and football. And understand the variables, understand the whole concept of what the analytics are doing. Well, if you take Philly and Buffalo out of fourth downs, yeah, it's probably 25%. Now, would you go for fourth down? So if you got good coaches, it's much more important to get field position, to knock the ball inside the 5 rate guy, and that should be your motivation. All right. Just a second. Anyway, so these are work. She says hello. Just a second. All right. Well, it's good hearing from D. Okay. Sorry about that, but you know how it is. So I put something out there how Trump has, what did I call it? Just a second. Let's see if I have any. So payment. China lost its payment system in Africa. So that's the new, it's the gold-backed system. It's not SWIFT, it's the China SWIFT. So that's launched in Africa. And that's the start. Now here comes the gold-backed currency. And so I said the U.S. What's my title on this? How the U.S. is bankrupting the world. So I don't know if that's interesting or not. It is, to me, I already understood it. They kind of are very mafia-like. They force a lot of countries to do things their way, or will kill you, like Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi. They wanted to go gold. They wanted to get out of the system. The system is set up for the U.S. So like I explained before, if I'm on the if I'm Switzerland and I want to buy British pounds, I have to take my Swiss francs, buy U.S. dollars, and there's fees. Take the U.S. dollar and then buy British pounds, and there's more fees. It's the stupidest system I've ever heard for the rest of the world. It's great for the U.S. How it got in there, I have no idea. Just bullying people and everything. But basically what you have is the U.S. sticks their nose in everybody else's business. You don't want anybody to tell you what to do. So the U.S. is making all this money on these transactions, this FX transactions. They set the FX rates, which is ridiculous. The dollar to the ruble, the dollar to the euro, the dollar to the pound, to the Swiss franc, and to the euro. And it's a bullshit system. And everybody's tired of it. Then we start throwing tariffs around. And so everybody's owing the U.S. money. It's all fiat money, which means it's not real. It's not backed by anything. This is monopoly money, and this is monopoly. It's just paper for different countries, but it's all worthless because it's not backed. It's just paper. Well, people really struggle to understand that concept. They're kind of going, well, it's money. Look, it says 5 on it. Well, it's hard to be. The problem with this fiat currency is they print too much of it, and then they expand the debt. So what the U.S. is doing to basically bankrupt the world is it's all fiat. So none of the money has value, and then they force you to go through the IMF or World Bank, which is charging you interest. So if I'm an African country, I have to get a loan, and I'm going to pay 10%. And I'm heavily in. I can't get out of debt because I needed money to try to grow or expand, or for whatever reason I needed money. But the interest charges are so great. Does that remind you of something with 37 trillion? And yeah. So Trump thinks if he lowers the interest rate from 5% to 1%, then he can pay off the debt easier. Hey, if we make it a 0% loan, you still can't pay the 37 trillion because you can't even balance your budget because you got too much government spending on your government employees, as well as the interest on the debt and just paying the debt off itself. It doesn't go down. It just keeps going up. So what he's done to the rest of the world is they need money. He gives them loans, charges them a bunch of interest, and they can't get out of it. And he steals their gold or their oil like he's trying to do in Africa. And finally, this guy, I can't remember the name of the country, but he's saying enough's enough. We're not going to take it. He's throwing out the U.S. and that, and the Russians are protecting him. So the U.S. can't come in with the CIA and MI6 and kill the guy. So the U.S. is realizing they've run out of money. So the U.S. is bankrupt. Everybody else is bankrupt because they're all in this fiat currency that is worthless, that every country has the same problems. They're all bankrupt because You're dealing in monopoly money, and you have huge debts to pay off your government and to pay off the U.S.'s loans. Well, nice enough to loan you money at whatever the interest rate is, and they can't get out of it. They don't make enough, as the U.S. steals a lot of stuff. And the gold, basically, when they try to do gold, Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein, to get out of the dollar, they got killed. And it was a shame because Gaddafi had this whole water system for the desert where it was everybody could drink and free education and everything. And this whole water pipeline, it was very smart, and we blew it all up. What a bunch of motherfuckers, right? So the people in charge are deranged that they think, well, I'm in charge. You can't use, I don't want you as a partner. I don't want you as a customer. I want to control you, and I want to stamp on you. And this is the problem with the U.S. It's really this control free. Look at Trump with the tariffs. These aren't negotiated tariffs. I'm just going to tariff you at 50%. I'm giving you 25%. I'm giving you 100% there. There's no rhyme. There's no reason. And he doesn't understand. He's bankrupting everybody more, because then it costs more. Anytime it costs more, you're in trouble because you can't raise the price. The price is pretty much fixed. This is going to cost $10. Caesar's Palace mug. Man, look how old this is. Probably from the 80s or 90s. So here's the mug. Here it is. It's $10. So if you do tariffs and raise my cost, now I got to charge 15. I'm not going to get cut. We'll pay 10. We're not going to pay 15. Or I'm going to go out of business, or I got to lay off a bunch of people. All lose situations. So Trump and his tariffs is bad enough because we're not going to pay 50. It's a coffee mug. I'm not going to pay $15 for it. I'll pay 10. Right? So that's the problem. So between the inflation, so everybody's got massive inflation. What is that? Money printing, right? You've inflated the money supply in every freaking country with this bullshit money that isn't backed by gold or silver. It's backed by nothing. And you can't just keep printing it. So the U.S. wants more and more. And what they're failing to understand is, but it's worthless. Now I see Trump behind him has all these gold picture frames or gold little monuments on his desk, paperweights or whatever you want to call it. So I don't know what Trump's doing, thinking he can, well, I'm going to have gold. So are we going to be gold back? There's no gold in Fort Knox. But how much gold did we steal from Africa? So how much is unofficial gold that we probably don't have in Fort Knox that he's got in his swimming pool as Putin has in his swimming pool? So Trump shows his gold. I don't know why, trying to say, look, we're okay. We have gold. I don't really know what the fuck he's doing. But the dollar is in trouble. The dollar's worthless. Does he understand that? I doubt it. I don't think he's a very smart man. So the reason everybody's bankrupt is their money's worthless, right? So you inflate your money because you've got to pay your expenses. You got to pay the pensions. And every country's getting older and older because you had this thing called World War II. And every country had the baby boomers, which are basically people born after World War II, right? So World War II ends, everybody has kids all over the world. And it was a bubble, basically. It was a lot of people. And now we're all coming into where they're in retirement age. And I'm at the end of it. There's probably people born in the early 50s, from 50 to 59, you got a lot of people born. I'm 59, so I'm at the end of the thing. And they all want their pensions because the idiot governments said, no, we'll take your money and we'll set up your retirement for you because, we do everything so well. Well, instead of me being able to keep my 7.65 and my employer's share of the 7.65, or the government putting it into a Howard professor account in a bank. So everything I earn goes into my account. And now when I'm ready to retire, the money's there. No, they stole the money. And so all these people are retiring and they don't have the money for them. So what do? They print more money. They all have, now they want this military. Well, weapons are expensive. Then you have, you just have the normal inflation where the money's losing value. You've got higher interest rates. You've got debts all over the place because the governments are bigger. And again, you can't afford, the government doesn't produce revenue. So how do you pay your government workers? Well, you got to print money. Well, again, the more you print, the less it's worth. And now it's almost worthless. Did Trump do that? Or not Trump, but did the U.S. do that? Well, we kind of put everybody on. We had them on the gold-backed currency till 1971. So everybody would have been tied to gold. They would have been fine, but not now. And the thing with the gold is you can only print as much money as you have gold. This is why all the central banks on BRICS and all the shadow banks and Putin and Xi and India and everybody is buying all this gold, because their money is worth based on how much gold you have. And they're getting rid of fiat, and Putin knows it damn well. He said the dollar's like a Snickers wrapper. It's not worth anything. He knows his Austrian economics. Give him credit for that. Trump doesn't. The U.S. are all Keynesians. They're all socialists. So are the UK. So is the whole EU. And that's the problem. And so when Africa needs money, or these countries need money, Mexico, Brazil, they go and they get a loan with high interest, and then none of them can pay it back because their economy isn't growing enough with all the extra government stuff and all the baby boomer stuff. They can't grow their. So think of it as you're selling you're selling mugs, right? Well, you want to make money, so your revenue, you want to sell a lot of them, and then your revenue is more than your expense. So you sell 20,000 of them and whatever, and you end up making a $70,000 profit. But the government can't, because the government doesn't sell anything. They're trying to sell the defense, but that's not them. That's the defense contractors. That's not the government. Oh, well, they'll work. Well, no. And then, we'll get taxes. Well, they're not hiring new people, and there's not a lot of taxes. And even if they sell $1 billion worth of defense, it doesn't really help it helps them, but it doesn't really help you. So this is the prime problem with the government. Too much cost for their employees, the pensions for the baby boomers, the debt that they got to pay interest on because they all have debt, and the inflation as you're all printing to pay your government employees and to pay your Social Security because you don't have the money. So we're just printing and printing and printing. Oh, what's wrong with it? Why pay the debt off? What's wrong if the money's worthless? Because they can't handle competition. So let me get a drink of water, and then we'll take this out in 5 seconds. Oh, I forgot I have I have a pitcher, and I gotta. So you're saying we'll just keep going with the Ponzi scheme? That's fine. We don't need to do anything. We'll just keep printing the money, and it says 100 on it, so it's worth 100. The problem is like Madoff. So Madoff was taking money in and sending it out. So he gets 100 in, he takes 5, and then he filters out the other 95 to people who are already in the Ponzi scheme. And it works until there's more people pulling their money out than coming in. So once he's getting 50, but he owes 100, the Ponzi scheme fails because he can't get any more than he can only get 50 in, but now people people want 100 out of it, but he's only getting 50 in. He can't do it. And I'm surprised he turned himself in instead of just saying, I got to close the fund. Sorry. This housing crisis has, it's hurt me. Too many people withdrew. I can't do it anymore. There's no good place to go. So I'm going to stop the fund. I don't know why he didn't do that. Maybe he tried, but he couldn't. I don't know. But the Ponzi, that's how the Ponzi scheme ends. So you're thinking, well, why would the Ponzi scheme end? Well, that's why. All right. Then you have basically OneCoin, and probably all the cryptos are Ponzi schemes. The lady at OneCoin, it's going to go up. It's going to be better than Bitcoin. It's going to be higher. And she'd do these little speeches and everybody go, oh, great, we're going to be rich. And then she came out, the Russian mafia wanted their money and she couldn't have it because she didn't have any. She said, oh, it's a fake. We don't really have OneCoin. Ponzi scheme number 2. She's dead and everybody lost all their money. And it's the same thing. They lose all their money in Madoff. Now, the housing crash. Well, I'm going to buy houses at cheap. I don't have a job, but I can get a house and pay 2%. Oh, wait, interest rates went up to 4% to 6%. I can't afford a 6% house payment. I could do it at 0 or 1 or 2, but I can't do it at 6. I got to sell the house. And that's what happened. So everybody's selling their houses that they couldn't afford, that they shouldn't have got in the first place. And then all the banks, like idiots, not understanding this simple fact, should have understood it. I knew that was going on. So instead, they had to dump like Attack on Wall Street guy, where they just delisted his real estate trust. So he's getting 8% on the real estate trust until he can't get it. So he's getting the 8% until they say, nope, you can't. Sorry, but we're losing money because people aren't paying. So in other words, the way the real estate trust was, people pay their mortgages and then they get that and then they pay it out. Again, it's money coming in, pays out the other people. And again, they couldn't do it because the money stopped coming in. So in Madoff, the money stopped coming in and went out. In the housing crisis, 2008, the money stopped coming in and the banks got killed. Why they get bailed out is because the banks run the government. The mafia runs the banks run the government. So in other words, I'm going to bail myself out, right? So the banks print the money and bail out certain players. They didn't bail out Lehman Brothers for some reason. I don't know. And they bailed themselves out and everybody else loses. And that's it. So again, now the money stopped coming in. There's no money coming in. They're not getting taxed. More people are retiring over the world. So as the baby boomers retire, they all want more money coming out than's coming in. They're not working and paying taxes. They're saying, give me my money. I want my money. I want my pension. I want my Medicare. So they keep printing the money and they got to pay the government employees, which causes inflation because you're printing too much money. And then you're going into debt because you're printing it. So not only are you inflating the money, but you're printing the money. Hey, David, how are you today? And that's the problem, right? So you're printing, and not only are you printing money to pay the expense. So let's say, we make $5,000 a month, but we owe 10. Where are we going to get the other 5,000? Well, we can't print money. So we use our credit cards. Eventually you got to pay them back. And that's what happens here. The government keeps printing the money and it causes inflation. But this is the whole world. So as all the baby boomers are getting older, every country are stuck in monopoly money. The euro, it's monopoly money. So as every country's in monopoly money, this was caused by the U.S. because after 1971, when we're all on what is it? Anyway, whatever we're on, the gold stat from 45 to 71. I'm drawing a blank now. It'll come to me. I'm close to it. Anyway, we had the whole world on gold, and we were the main dollar. So you bought US dollars, it was backed by gold. Well, thank you, David. I'm awesome about things I know. I don't claim to know everything, but it's my whole attitude when I learn something. In other words, I look at why is gold 2000 and I dig into it and I figure it out. And that's what I do, like with the health and everything, stoic, all that. You have the same desire to understand what's going on, and then you get your answers, and then you can explain it. And I'm really good at explaining. But thank you. I appreciate that, David. So every country now is doing the same thing, printing the money, massive inflation. The people are getting older. They want their pensions. They have to print, which is inflation. Their debt goes up. They all have huge debt. I think it's like 200 trillion, the debt in the world. How are you going to pay it off? Because the people aren't, the economy's shrinking everywhere. Bretton Woods, I knew I'd come up with it. So Bretton Woods, 1945, after World War II, goes and says, all right, we're all going to go to the dollar. And so that's what we do. But in 1971, what's happening here in the US, we're not supposed to print. We have so much gold and it's at $35 an ounce, and that's it. But LBJ wants to put us at Vietnam, and then becoming social programs. We'll feed the poor, we'll feed the hungry, we'll feed this, we'll feed that. You can only do that if you actually are making money. So they did all that, and then it ran up the dollars too much on the gold, and France said, hey, we want our gold. We don't, you're printing too much. You're devaluing it. But anytime anybody tried to go with the gold-backed system, which would have prevented all this, it's not going to happen. The U.S. wouldn't allow it. Like I said, they killed Gaddafi. They killed Saddam Hussein. All they're trying to do is have a gold-backed currency or live off of gold. Like Saddam Hussein wanted to take euros for oil. No, you got to take the dollar. So we basically blackmailed everybody that they had to use dollars for oil, and the FX thing where you had to, you're Switzerland, you got to buy dollars to buy pounds. Why do I got to do that? So you blackmailed everybody. You then made everybody borrow from the World Bank or the IMF. And so Africa wants to build, or Spain or anybody, they have to go to the IMF to get the funds at a high interest rate. And so everybody's in this hole. So imagine a 20% credit card. Well, I need the money, but then try to pay it back. But your economy isn't strong enough to make, $1 million a year to start paying the debt, right? Your revenues aren't high enough to get off the expenses. As you add these social programs, we got to feed the hungry and retirement, and we got to build roads. And I think that's what's happening in Michigan. That's how screwed up the Keynesians are. So you can tell the economy is bad because there's road construction all over the place, because they think that'll stimulate the economy. If we build roads, we have to hire people and pay the road off, right? So they're here, and so we hire the road workers to build the road. Well, it's got to be a business. There's got to be revenue. The revenue is then, so the government has to print money to pay the road guys. Well, they need to be in a business. You got to sell so you got to make the coffee mug and sell the coffee mug. You can't have the government making coffee mugs and selling them to stimulate the economy. But that's how Keynes thinks. That's not how the Austrians do it, right? It's what the people want. And then we make it, and we make a profit. It costs us 5, we sell it for 10. We make profit. That's what's needed. So this is all over the world. So now what's happened? The Madoff effect. Here comes BRICS saying, we know the dollar's worthless, So somebody taught them Austrian economics. We know the dollar is worthless. So we're going to come out with gold, but we're afraid you're going to kill us like you did with Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi. So a lot of people are scared, but meanwhile, their money's being inflated. It's worth nothing. They have high debt. Everybody in the world is in the same boat. Heavy inflation and heavy debt. How you get out of it? Your money's not worth anything, right? So then what happens? So you're sitting there going, what the fuck do we do here? And that's where BRICS, but because it's Russia and China, can get away with it because they're nuclear and they're big armies, and the U.S. can't just go in like they did to Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein and just do an air raid and blow them up and kill them and off you go. So they can't do that with Putin. They probably tried. Somebody tried to assassinate Putin, probably MI6. So the world's run by MI6 and the CIA and Mossad, which I think is Israel. They're the ones running America, and they're the ones running the world, but they can't do anything with Russia and China. They're too big. You can't really go and intimidate them like you could Saddam Hussein. So now the world's figured it out, and we're buying the gold, and that destroys this. So how the U.S. destroyed it is they got everybody on their little monopoly money, which is all worthless in every country in the world, even China and Russia, because nobody's on gold. The only way a dollar works is to have it backed by gold or silver. That's it. You cannot have a dollar worth anything if it's not backed. Now, a Mano card, you have the card. The Rolex, you have the watch. The painting, you have the painting. You have the Van Gogh. That's right there. You have that. Again, it's a poster. But if you have the asset, then that's what backs it up and gives it the value. And then it's the demand. So if I have a Mano card, it's not worth anything unless somebody wants it. If nobody wants it, fine. Well, does anybody want this? No. Nobody wants this because you've monetized it, which means you're kind of blackmailing everybody. You have to have the dollar for the FX. You have to have the dollar to buy oil. And that you basically bullied everybody into doing it. And now everybody's saying, fuck you. And that's what's happening. So they can't really do anything. But all these countries are on monopoly money, thanks to the U.S. not letting anybody go on gold. The U.S. wanted to be powerful and control everybody. Well, now the game's over. You've bankrupted the whole world because every system is the same on monopoly. Look at Venezuela. Look at Zimbabwe. You got the wheelbarrows out trying to buy milk and cookies. I mean, that's the problem with it. Starving people all over because you've got price controls in Venezuela. It's just simply about they can't make money. The producer's not going to produce if you can't make money. If it costs me $5, I got to sell it for 10. If it now costs me 10 and I got to sell it for 5, I'm not going to make it because I'm not in business to lose money. So I go somewhere else. And that's the problem. So the world's bankrupt because their money's worthless. The only money that isn't is gold. And you see it now. Every central bank in the world, except for the Fed in the U.S., is buying gold because they realize that the dollars are worthless. And whatever, the euro, the Swiss franc, the British pound, Canadian, the whole Euro team, Africa, they all realize that their dollars are worthless. Russia, China, India, it's all worthless. And what do? I'm bankrupt. They fucking bankrupt me by not letting me out of my dollar, by not letting me have gold-backed currency. Now, if you're able to buy gold, and that's what the central banks, you'll be okay. So again, in the Madoff, as soon as everybody wanted their money out and nobody could put it in, that was the end of it. In COMEX, how does it end? Well, it's all bullshit between U.S. and London trading options to price fix gold and silver to keep the price down. Oh, you don't want to be in gold and silver because they know if you're in gold and silver, they can't control you. You're free and they can't fuck you over with this inflation. You can't inflate gold and silver. People like calling it a counterparty risk, which I really don't understand. The counterparty risk. I don't talk like that, so I don't know what the hell they're talking about. I choose to look at it as you can't print it. And that's how you inflate things, by printing things, printing dollars, too much dollars, it's worthless, but you can't print gold. And that's really the key, how I like to explain it. Once I have the gold, I don't have to worry about the price going down because you can't print it. It's just the price fixing of JP Morgan. But since every country is broke and bankrupt with their bullshit dollars, since the euro is bankrupt and the US is bankrupt with their bullshit dollars, the only out is to go gold and silver, as I call it, my lifeboat. So you're going into gold and silver. So of course the value has to go up because they're very limited. Now COMEX can sit there and go and price fix it and try to keep the price down, but there's too much action because everybody needs gold and silver. And they don't care what price it is. It could be 5,000 an ounce. It's still going to sell, especially to the banks and Putin and China and India and Saudi Arabia. They're going to pay whatever. Brazil, whatever the price is, they're going to buy it because it's the only out. That's why when it was 1,700 and I'm buying it, and when it was 250 an ounce and I'm buying it, and now it's 3,400. You're still buying it. You're buying it to get it. It's not a stock where I'm buying it at, it's cheap. It's not, I bought Microsoft at 100. Now it's at 120. Okay, now I'm going to sell it. You're not doing that for gold. You're not trying to buy cheap and sell low. You're not selling it at all. You're very little selling it. And you're, as I call it, Rumpelstiltskin. So you're getting out of the dollar to buy the gold, which makes perfect sense because the dollar's not worth anything. And if the gold guy is still willing to accept the money for the gold, like I said, I went to him and I said, my only worry about gold is that you won't take my dollar anymore. He said, I wouldn't worry about that. I'll keep taking it. And I'm like, okay, fine, then I'm a happy camper. I don't know why you prefer the dollar over gold, but I certainly wouldn't. But he's just trying to pay rent and pay his employees. So the gold comes in at spot. He charges $100 over. So every ounce he sells, he makes $100. Misses the big picture that when it goes up to 10,000, you could have made a hell of a lot more, or 20,000. The dollars will go out in every country because you can't keep holding it, because eventually everything hits the fan. And so in COMEX, it's about Madoff because the game works. London buy, US sells, London sells, US buys, and they go back and forth. And it's fixed because they know they're going to buy it. So if I know I got a buyer, so if I always have a buyer for this, if Luke's going to buy my Canadian club every time, so I'm going to sell it, he's going to buy it. So I'll just keep making it because I know I got a buyer until I don't have a buyer. So as soon as in COMEX, as long as London and the US don't take delivery of the gold, they can keep playing that game. But they can't, because here comes China and Russia and India and Saudi Arabia and Brazil saying, I want to take delivery. I'm gonna call that option. So when you short it, you put it. You want the price to go down. So the price is dropping, and then here comes China and Russia going, okay, I'm gonna call that option, and I want the gold. I want to get the gold delivery, which is Basel III. So I want you to deliver that gold. The U.S. isn't doing it, obviously, because they don't have the gold to deliver, but that's what they're supposed to do. So this is all coming to a head, just like Madoff. I want the gold. I'm asking for delivery, which you're not doing. Okay, fine. So if you're not doing it, then what happens? Well, if you're not delivering it, your Ponzi scheme's over, because you can't just put it, you can't short it if there's no long, if nobody's buying it. Then it becomes a dead option, there's a lot of them out there from cheaper. But it's a way for brics to buy the gold cheap. And that's what they're doing. You can't get it for 3,300 anywhere else. It's probably 3,500, 3,600. If you go to the minor, you go to Switzerland or wherever. So the Madoff COMEX has gone also. So all Ponzi schemes eventually end Here, they don't. It only worked until somebody wanted the gold, which they want, and now it won't work because people wanted the gold. They can't have it. There's none left for delivery. The U.S. isn't delivering it in London, and they don't realize that where they were the bully on the street, they're not anymore. Gold's the bully. So now they realize, shit, this isn't worth anything, which works until gold comes to play and silver. Gold and silver are real money. I don't want to hear about this silver being used for solar panels and bullshit. That's not what silver is. It's just there, but it's money, just like gold is. And I don't want to hear it's not priced as money because that's bullshit. That's because COMEX is price fixing it. Understand what's going on, alligator, Alistair McLeod. So it will be priced as money, and that's where this 10-to-1 ratio, I assume, comes in. I'm not a fan of the ratio. I think it goes to supply demand. Where the market puts it is where it is. It could be more than gold. It could be less. It's the price. So the price of silver will zoom because gold's going to get expensive and silver is money. So I can do the same thing. It's just silver. Gold, you're going to buy a house. Silver, you're going to buy groceries and dinners and stuff like that. Take trips. So that's what bankrupts everything is the gold and silver, which is why the U.S. doesn't want the gold out there, because right now we're the bully because we control the dollar and we have a big army. So we can force you to not trade in gold. However, until the other players are now Russia, China, India, Saudi Arabia, Brazil, now you're not the bully anymore because I have gold and you don't. They're the bullies now. And that's why we buy gold and silver, is because now everybody's figured out that all these dollars are worthless. That's what the central banks have figured out. That's why they're all buying the shit out of them, because they know because they know the dollar's gone. But before it wouldn't work. Now they're in BRIC. They got the team, so the U.S. can't fight the team. That's why Trump's going to war with everybody, is to try to end BRICS, but he can't. BRICS is laughing at him. You can't. And we don't have any army anyway to do it. He's a bad liar. He's a bad bluffer. What's he doing? He's sitting there going, well, I'm going to nuke everybody, or I'm going to go to war, or I'm going to do this and that. And he can't. He doesn't have a military. We have no army here. And we really have no, we don't have a lot of weapons. We've given them away to Ukraine. Now, why we just gave them to Ukraine, I don't know, instead of them buying it. But Ukraine's broke. They don't have any money. Zelensky stole a lot of money. When he would get this, he would take 5 million here and 5 million there and put it in a bank in Cyprus, I guess. And he lives in London or one of these, Greece or somewhere. But he's a bad guy. He's fucking his own country over, but he's really not a Ukrainian. He was a puppet put in by the U.S. and London, and they're the ones who control everything. So the problem is London and the U.S. are just they know if the gold-backed currency is, they're gone. So you bankrupt the entire world, but BRICS is smart enough to understand that and went to gold. The only thing that can save anybody is gold. Now, if the U.S. went to a gold-backed currency, we'd be fine. There would not be a economic collapse, or there's nothing wrong with the system. The system works fine. You need something, you buy it. You go to work, they pay you for it. You take your money you make, you spend, and whatever left over, you were buying stocks, now you buy gold and silver. So that's how they bankrupt the world, by forcing you in monopoly money. World War II with the baby boomers creating this huge influx of pension that you have to pay because everybody's getting old at the same time, most of the people. The inflation of printing the money, making it worthless. The wars, which are very expensive. The debt, which everybody has, and the interest on their debt. And They have to keep paying it. So everybody has more expense than income. And you can't make 100% tax. Nobody would work. Why would you? Oh, I go to work, I make $5,000 in a week, but I got to give you all $5,000. Why would I work? So you can't tax the economy to death. That won't work and never could. So every country's like that. They have this money that's worthless. So this is not worth anything. And if you go to Europe and you use this, you buy coffee, probably costs you $10. Lunch, probably 20, 25 euros, especially if you have dollars. Use your credit card if you're in Europe. At least you can pay for it. It's just going to cost you, another $5, $10 in euros. Gold will hold its value because it can't be printed. So gold's sitting there at value X, and the dollar you keep inflating it and killing it. So the price, the value of the dollar is at zero. You keep printing it, so the inflation, because you need to spend. And so right now the dollar is the only thing you can spend, and that's why they came out with the stable coins. Oh, we'll use this instead of the dollar, but it's fake. And it's going to the bonds. So the way the U.S. worked, and I would assume most countries, is when they don't have enough money to pay their expenses, they do bonds. And they want other countries to buy the bonds. Then they get that money and they spend it, and I'll pay you later. So China, that's why China and Japan are getting rid of their bonds, because they know it's going to be worthless. So they get rid of the bonds to go and buy gold, because the bonds are worthless. They got 37 trillion in debt. How are they going to pay the bonds back? So the countries are already going broke. So they're saying, fuck it. I want to cash in my bond early, because all the bond is an IOU. So if you buy a government bond, you're giving them $10,000, and they're going to give you back $10,000 plus interest for the whatever. Let's say it's a 2-year bond. So they're in 2 years, they're going to give you $10,000 plus whatever interest you got, 4 or 5%. Big whippy. Well, it's guaranteed. It's the U.S. It never defaults. Yeah, well, it's about to default. I heard the same thing in the housing crisis. Well, mortgages never default. People need the house. Yeah, when you make it where they're not working and you're giving them loans, they will default, because you're changing variables. See how everything nicely runs together. So this is the real problem, right? This is why we turn to gold and silver, because they can't control it. They can't do anything with it. They can try to control the price, but that's a losing battle, because there's too much demand. So they can kind of slow it down a little bit. Let's see what it is. But this price is bullshit. This is a COMEX price, is not a real price, as we know. So whatever I'm going to tell you isn't real. It's fantasy. So it jumped up to 33.50. That's the 10 o'clock drop, and then the 11 o'clock pop. And silver is back to 38. Neither of these prices are real. They're done by options, which is papered down, which is water that's papered down. So neither of these are accurate prices, which I scream at you to buy, because they're worth so much more. This is why I fight when you say, well, I want to buy stocks. And I go, but the stocks are going to collapse. The gold and silver are so heavily undervalued. Yeah, but they're not moving now, because the U.S. doesn't want to, the U.S., once they let the gold price go, then people will run in and buy gold and silver, which is what they don't want, because they can't control you in gold and silver. Nobody knows you have it, right? You got 100 ounces of gold and 1,000 ounces of silver in your house. Nobody knows you have it. They can't control you with it. If you have the money in the bank, what can they do? Well, sorry, this is the bank's money. We're not giving it to you. You have the money in the stock market. What happens when the stock market crashes? What happens if you're in real estate trust or real estate? I have a question. Why do people think real estate's an investment? At best, it's a rental property. You buy this house on the lake and then you rent it out. But you got to maintain it and pay the property taxes, the utilities, hope people come and don't ruin it, and hope people come and pay you. And then you got to maintain it. So are you really making that much money on a rental property? I don't think so. That's just a Ponzi scheme there. And yet people buy 5, 6 houses because, oh, well, the housing values will go up. Well, they're about to crash. I showed you that headline last couple days ago. So let's see. So you made houses an investment. You bought 5 of them, figuring the price of the house will go up. Home prices will drop 50 to 80%. Whoops. Or I want to rent my house out. Landlords panic, prepare for the worst, breaking U.S. rental market. Well, maybe real estate isn't the place to be. And the only place which everybody fights because it's price fixed is gold and silver. It's a simple answer. Take your money, buy gold and silver. You can't lose. It's going to go 10 times value, and that's it. And it'll buy you whatever because everything else is coming down. Houses, the cars, all the real estate. Nobody wants to buy a field. I love when people, well, I'll buy land. What are you going to do with the land? Oh, I'll sell it. To whom? Who wants land? I don't want land. It's not worth anything unless it's next to Caesar's Palace, and I'm going to build a hotel on it or something like that. And even Vegas, then you get into markets. If the price is too high, nobody wants it. So you fuck yourself again. So how is buying a house an investment? It's not. It's prudent to, it keeps going up and people want to keep buying it, but people don't have the money to keep buying it. So eventually it's going to hit a point where there's no buyers left. So here you're buying a house, and then, I'm going to buy 2 of them, 3 of them, 4 of them. Now I have all these houses, and this is what I'm paying. But there's nobody home to buy the houses. The market's down here. So you paid more and more and more, but there's nobody to sell them to. It's not an investment. House is a place to live, and it's a lot of maintenance and property taxes and everything else. But it's really, you buy one house to live in because you got to live somewhere, and that's it. But that's all you do. You do not buy 5 houses, unless you're Madoff, you want one in France and one in Florida and one in New York. But again, at the end of the day, he got his too. Probably couldn't sell them to pay off the people. So that's what bankruptcy is. You owe, and you can't bring in enough revenue to pay it off. And the problem with the world is they're all dealing with paper fiat money, thanks to the U.S. not letting anybody go to gold. And therefore, all this currency in every country is worthless. So it doesn't matter what country you're in, China and Russia and Philadelphia. It's just paper money that isn't backed by anything. And they call it fiat, which is, you have to believe, it's a belief that the government will back the money and it'll keep a value. However, everything only has a value if and only if people have a demand for it. So I can only sell my Mantle card, my Canadian club, if somebody's willing to buy it. If nobody's willing to buy it, this is worthless. Even though it's whiskey and I paid whatever, I probably paid $20 for it in 1997 when I was working there. But that's the key. Once that's it. So the Mantle card seems to always have the demand, and the Mays and the Hank Aaron and all those guys, Clemens, Koufax, Bob Gibson, they always have the demand. And that's fine. And that's what you understand is that's why you buy things that are fairly limited, that there's a lot of demand. That's why you buy the Montana rookie card and the Rice rookie card. And things that are overproduced, like the Barry Sanders rookie card, never has much of a value, even though you'd think there'd be demand. They printed too much. They printed more than the demand. So how do you not go broke? You get into real assets, gold and silver, and as I said, the Rolex and the cards. And it's all because they're limited and there's demand. As long as there's demand for a Rolex or these cards, then you'll be okay. That's the only way out. But you can't be in something that's printed to death. There's too much of them. It's like a Topps baseball card. They make 1 million of them, and so there's not enough demand to buy them all. So it's supply and demand, which means gold is very short supply, as is silver, and the demand's huge on them because now you're forcing everybody into gold and silver by running all the money. So all the money is worthless. You can call it fiat, you can call it debt, whatever you want to call it. It's money because it's a medium of exchange. It gets exchanged for goods and services. You go to work, you get, even though it's fiat, you're getting money, and then you use it to buy. And that system works until it collapses, when all of a sudden the money has no value because nobody wants it. And that's what happened in 1923 in Germany. As you're wheelbarrowing your money to the grocery store to buy milk and wheat, you need, it's not worth anything, till eventually they gave the money out and people were wallpapering their house with the money because it had no value. How does it lose value? Nobody wants it. There's no demand for it. Why did Germany do it? Because in World War I, they were forced. When World War I ended, somehow Germany got forced to pay all the other countries or whatever. They had all these debts, and Germany had to pay it, and they didn't have the money. So they printed the Reichsmarks. So they printed and printed and printed until it was worthless. And that allowed Hitler to come into power because, I got jobs for everybody, because it was ruined. Germany was done. But Hitler came in and I give you a job, give you a nice uniform and jobs, and you can shoot people and this and that. But if you didn't have the hyperinflation and you didn't have them force them to pay for World War I, you never would have had Hitler. There'd be what, 5 million people alive today, or is it million people, 500 million or something? So you killed a bunch of people with your stupid Keynesian hyperinflation, printing the money to death. And now it's happening again. So these wars are caused by the U.S. not wanting the gold-backed currency and trying to fight the BRICS countries who are having the gold-backed currency because they realize they can't compete with gold. This can never compete with gold. Gold always wins 1,000% of the time because this isn't real. And that demand will be for gold, not for this. So if the gold price shoots to 5,000, when it shoots to 5,000, people will start panicking and flooding into gold, which is what we're waiting for. And then the gold price, COMEX blows up, and the gold price goes to 10,000, and we're sitting there going, hey, I bought mine at 1,000, at 1,500, 1,700, wherever you bought yours at. That's why I'm saying get into it now before that flood happens and the frenzy happens. You're already in it, and that's the point of it. You don't want to get in it. You don't want to, oh, geez, gold's going up. I guess Howard was right. Yeah, I probably should have bought it then. But, COMEX kind of held me back. So I got into stocks, and, oh, shit, my stocks are crashing because people need money, and they're all jumping ship out of their stocks to go buy gold and silver like the central banks are doing. The central banks are the ones who are buying the gold because they know everything they have in dollars is worthless. And that's their reserves. So now their reserves are gold, and they keep buying it as much as they can because they realize the game's over. They realize everything in US dollars are worthless, and the only thing you can do is get into gold and silver. And they start to realize this. And once they realize it, then off they go. So that's what you have, is why everybody should be in gold and silver, because it can't be printed, it can't be inflated. So really, inflation is the key trigger that people don't understand. They'll say it's prices, and I don't know where that came from. Actually, here's a dollar, you print the shit out of it, the dollar loses its value. So simply, it takes more dollars to buy chocolate chip cookies is the predicate, right? You printed dollars to make them worthless, so more dollars to buy goods and services. Well, it's not the price going up, it's the dollar being printed and losing its value. And that's what you have. That's the inflation. You're inflating the money supply. But people want to call it wage inflation. They want to call any price increase inflation, which is dead wrong. There is no such thing as wage inflation. What are you inflating? The wage? No, the wage isn't being inflated. You're not printing more wages. It just takes more dollars to buy. So it's a very simple concept that people just simply goes over their heads, or they don't want to explain it, or they don't want to understand it. It's money printing, period. And the more of something, the less it's worth. And if it's not worth anything, then there you go. Once it's not worth anything, you're fucked. So then you have to transfer, and you look around. I did this once. I saw Biden in office, and he starts doing $5, $6, $7 trillion of spending, so the dollar's gone. And then I said, where do I put my dollars? So my immediate reaction was, okay, I have $100,000 in the bank. It's worthless. I knew back then when Biden was in there. And I said, what do I do with it? And I said, well, I can buy euros. And then I said, no. Well, how about Swiss franc? No, I can't buy any currency because none of it's backed by gold. And this is how I intuitively think. And I jumped. I said, well, I got to buy gold and silver. That's the only out, because every dollar is not backed by anything, is all worthless. So then you save yourself by getting out of the dollar into something with value, which is gold and silver, or a Rolex or a mantle. That's what I'm saying. Those are your options, because they are worth something. And if you got to have them physical, you can't have them digital. A digital mantle is worthless. Don't be fooled by that. So the digital currency is worthless because it's not backed by anything. It's the same thing as the dollar. It's not backed by anything. A stable coin or a Bitcoin isn't backed by anything. It's priced in dollars, so you think it's worth something. It's just a Ponzi scheme. If you take 118 grand, you're stupid enough to buy a Bitcoin with it, you're gonna lose it all. It's not worth anything. So these people with the digital, oh, I'll buy digital. No, it's not, because it's not backed by anything. It's the same thing as the dollar. You want to buy things that are that's backed by something. Or gold is worthless because it has value because it's gold, or silver. And even though they use silver for Tomahawk missiles and and solar panels, doesn't mean it's a dual thing. But you're buying it because it is money. Gold's money, silver's money. Even copper, I believe, is worth money, but we don't use it that much for money because of the silver. But silver should be at least, I'm going to say, $500 an ounce, and that's conservative right now. Should be much higher. So go find somebody who can explain it like this. Good luck. You can't, except for Egon's kind of understands it's money printing, but most of these other guys are just, it's over their heads. It's prices. As soon as I hear inflation is prices going up, I turn it off and I want to throw up, because again, you have somebody misleading you that it's not real. Prices going up are prices going up. As we know how the market works, how do you get a price of this? Well, I put it on the grocery store and I sell it, and I'm going to sell it at this price. And if you agree to it, that's the price of this. And inflation doesn't make the price go up. Price goes up because of demand. People want it. I can sell it for more, and I still can sell it. So I can get $100 a bottle. I make it 100. If it sells out, I'll make it 125 a bottle. It goes up because somebody's willing to pay for it, not because of inflation. Now, the fact it takes more dollars to buy it is fine, but that's really just a counter of it. The end price is still based on the demand that somebody's willing to pay for it. So when I talk about steaks at $20 a pound for a New York strip or something, it only works if somebody's willing to pay for it. You can't just raise the price. And that's why there's no price inflation, because inflation isn't causing the price to go up. It's causing the dollar to lose value. But how you determine what the selling price is not based on inflation at all. It's based on still what will the customer pay for it. And as the dollar loses value, prices go up. So I have less money to buy things with. And that's what happens. And that's what's going on. So that's how the US bankrupted everybody. They won't let people on the gold exchange, the FX, and the whole you had to use dollars for oil, so you had to buy dollars. That's all coming home now because Saudi Arabia is like, we'll take anything. We'll take yuan for it. We want gold for it. So they sell their oil for yuan, and then they take the yuan and they buy gold with it. So it's kind of like what we do. We get our paycheck and then we run to the gold store and go buy the gold with it. So we'll take it as long as we can buy the gold. Until we can't buy the gold, then we want to get paid in gold. And poor Bobby Bo, his $1 million contract is now worth about $20,000. But he can still take that million and buy gold with it, which is what I tell him to do. But he's been screwed. His agent should be fired. And you other guys, I saw one athlete who's getting paid in Bitcoin. What an idiot. If what you should do is get your paycheck and then go run and buy gold with it. But the problem is there's not that much gold out there, and you're going to run out of gold soon. So you really want to get paid in gold if you're not in Bitcoin. I mean, the guy was all excited. I think he's on the Dodgers. Oh, I got paid in Bitcoin. Yeah, you're an idiot. You don't want to be messing with Bitcoin. If that's what you do is if you did buy it at $1, which apparently everybody did, now it's 100,000. Sell the fucking thing and buy gold with it because it's not going to last. The stock market is going to collapse because there really has no value in the stock market. And that's the point I keep trying to make. It's going to collapse. Oh no, Howard, see, you're looking at the end date. You're looking at the $48. Well, let's see what it's at now. You're looking at this 44,000. See, people are really slow. They see the number, but they don't. So it's up 455. All right. Why is it up 450? Well, AI or analytics or whatever, people with their 401ks, but they don't realize that that number is fake. That's a phony number and it's going to collapse. And part of it's the inflation where 44,000, the stock market is probably worth about 15,000 way back when. So that's too high. People will start losing everything and will need to sell their stocks to buy rent and food and everything else. And that's the problem. So it didn't happen in 1923. There was a stock market. I don't know if people sold it. 1929, there was a couple of rich people who sold some stock for some reason, and then everybody followed suit. And it went down from 290 to 29. And then all of a sudden it went back to 250 a couple of months later. So it wasn't really a big, they might call it the stock market crash, but if they looked at the whole picture, there was really no crash at all. It was in 5 or 6 months, it was right back where it was, like 250 from 290 to 29 to 250. So somebody made a bundle at 29, right? So if you knew what was going on and you sold at 290 and it goes down to 29, and then they bought it at 29 and made a bundle going up to 250. So that's what happens. So please be aware of what's going on. The world's broke. They need gold and silver. So if you're in gold and silver, you're going to make the money. Oh, I look at COMEX. Well, COMEX is bullshit. It's price fixed. It's paper gold and silver, not physical. We're talking about buying physical gold and silver, and that's going to the moon. And that's what all central banks and all the BRICS countries, and BRICS is having a gold-backed currency, and Russia and China will. And once you understand that, then that's where you're going. So that is the key to everything. So the U.S. is behind everybody going bankrupt by keeping them in the fiat bullshit problem. Again, real quickly, the inflation, the money printing, the debt, the people getting their pensions, Social Security here, and all that plays into the government needing to print more and more, which puts more debt in the system, and you can't pay the debt off. And that's the bottom line. So yeah, the U.S. did that, and London basically, and now the U.S., London, and Israel are running everything into the ground. They're bullying everybody into the war and buying defense weapons because they realize they're broke. They all realize they're bankrupt, broke, and oh well, we'll have a war and we'll try to sell weapons. That's how that's not going to help you get out of it. Where are you getting the money for that? Oh, well, they'll print more money. And, so it's just going to be printing a lot of money to buy weapons. Does not help you. Doesn't help your economy. It's got to grow by the private sector. All right. So our baseball today, Philly, 3 units. Milwaukee under 7, 3 units. Houston over 8.5, 2 units. Seattle, 2. And we're betting against the Mets with Atlanta, and we're betting against Colorado with St. Louis, both on 7 and 8 game losing streaks, the Mets and Colorado. Football, teaser 1, Atlanta plus 11.5, KC plus 3.5. Teaser 2, Philly over 33, Green Bay plus 12. Teaser 3, Detroit plus 10. The Rams plus 10.5. And teaser 4, Baltimore plus 4.5, Buffalo over 33.5. Do not make big bets on these. They're preseason games. Yes, I had a fabulous week 1, going 9-1 in my picks, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 4-1 in my teasers. Everything's set for Teaser King. www.teaserking.com. Go to purchase picks. You can buy weekly. You can buy monthly. Now you can buy the year. Same prices as last year. I raised the class to $50. And then so if you want, and you're having difficulty, I have a few customers who, can I pay in payments, which it's fine, but I'm only going to give you the password to equal to the payment. So if you want to buy the year and you want to give me 3 cuts at $250 or something like that, or 2 cuts, $375 and $375, that's fine. But you only get as much football as you pay for until then. Or if you just give me the whole $750, then you get the password for the end of the year. Anyway, that's all set. Passwords are all set. The only thing that's set is I don't have the picks in there yet. So you start college 11 days, August 23rd. We've got the college. Maybe we'll look at that later or tomorrow. We'll review the lines, and I finally got, if the returning quarterback, the coaches, stuff like that. We can go through the quarterbacks from last year. I've done that a couple of times, but I can do it again. And that's about it. So have a wonderful day. Good luck to you. Buy your gold and silver and stop fucking around with stocks and other things that are going to crash when the gold and silver hasn't begun yet. Well, it hasn't moved. It's not moving. It's moved from 1,700 to 3,400, right? And it's going to move to 5,000. The U.S. and London are trying to push the price down with these derivatives, these options. Eddie Murphy, Trading Places, the orange juice. It's all price fixed, but it's going to crash because they have to come out and pay in physical. The Chinese are saying, okay, I'll want delivery for this option, and they got to get the gold, which they don't have. And that's the problem. So keep that in mind. So just be smart, buy your gold and silver. If you don't have a lot, just buy silver. It's still $40 an ounce. It's still dirt cheap. And off we go. So have a wonderful day. If you need me, www.teaserking.com. Go to the homepage. So I have tabs set up. Go to the homepage, and you can get let me show you my site. Where is my site? I had it set as my homepage, and then something happened, and I don't know how to reset it. Jesus Christ. All right, just a second. So here's the site. So if you go to the home page, you can get my email. I explain what a teaser bet is because that's all I do. Trends I don't use anymore because I know they're not worth anything, but we will discuss them. The odds will take you to another page where the odds are. My history shows you what I did last year. So that's what we did last year. 223, da 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 da. And it basically goes week by week. So you can go back to that. Then you've got purchase pick. So here's where you go to buy. You just simply click on it. So again, it's teaserking.com. And there you go. So that's what you're trying to do. And then that you get a password if you buy, and then you put the password in here, and then it brings you the picks. So when you purchase, you get a password. You can pay me with Venmo. I have a few people doing that, and I don't care. That seems even easier. I get that right away. So this is through PayPal or Venmo. You can pay me, or of course I accept gold. And that's it. So have a wonderful day and good luck. If you want to buy picks, you can talk about it here. Just buy or send me an email. Just go to that teaserking.com. Been doing this a long time. As you can see by the header video on here, it's 15 years. I've been handicapping since probably I started betting teasers in the 70s. I started betting football in the 60s, like 67, 68. I was 10 years old. And then handicapping, I wanted to do earlier, but I didn't really get into the 900 number. So once the internet came on, then I could do this, and then I could do a web page, and that's when I started. So it's about 20 years of handicapping. And if I wasn't any good at it, I wouldn't be able to do it. So you can't just handicap, be bad, and people will pay you. No, you got to be good. I had one guy ask me about that, and he says, "How do you do what I do?" And I said, "Like do a YouTube." And he said, "I want a handicap." And I go, "Well, you better pick winners because nobody's going to want to listen to you if you pick a bunch of losers. You can't cost people money. You have to make people money, and that's what my whole thing. My goal is to make you money because I believe strongly in it. But my also goal is to save you money by buying gold and silver. So my Austrian economics background is when I got my master's. So I'm seeing what's going on. I got to say something. So normally this would just be football and some baseball now, and but now it's turned into economics and gold and silver and inflation and everything that nobody seems to know what the fuck inflation is. All right. I'm out here. Questions, comments? All right. www.teaserking.com will get you we'll get you here, and you can look. You can. Here's my home, so you can see that, and there you go. So I do a free pick. I'll do a free pick on here instead of in there. People say, "Oh, you're supposed to post a free pick." Like, no, it's here. I'll do it here. I'll go through the games. Now I'll go through a lot of games, but I only give one free pick, because then that's the point. You got to buy the bets. You got to buy the picks, like a stock tip, right? The broker's not going to give you this stock tip and that, but that's what people want for free. You get what you pay for, except for with me. You do. The free pick does very well. So anyway, have a good day. I'm going to eat. www.teaserking.com. Okay. Thanks very much. Have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow.